Have you been thinking lately about how should you complain at your office? If you're not satisfied with your work and you want to tell your boss or tell the people around what problems are you facing at your workplace, then I have some suggestions for you. I think if you are getting to do some extra work, you could tell them that your co-workers are not pulling their weight around and that's why you need to pick up the slack. Well, I think it was hard for you to understand this one, right? Well, the reason is because here I have used some slang words in English that are used to complain. And these are some very smart ways to complain in English, which you will often hear native speakers and advanced speakers of English use. So my name is Michelle and keep watching. Okay, so as you can see that we have a couple of sentences on the board, okay? Each one of these is a complaint that you can make at your workplace. So let's start with the first one and try to understand how you can complain using this and for which situation. So this is, my co-workers don't pull their weight, okay, and I'm always picking up the slack. So what do we mean by pulling their weight? Of course, they cannot pull their body weight. So what it means here is that they are not pulling up their work weight, which means that they are not doing their own share of work, which means that you need to do your own share of work. So let's write that here. Pull their weight means do their share of work. All right, now let's look at the next one. I'm always picking up the slack. What do we mean by picking up the slack? So picking up means that you're on the ground, picking up something, and here, slack here means that you're always doing the extra work. So picking up the slack means to do the extra work, okay? Now think about this. If your co-workers don't do the work that's assigned to them, then who will do it? Most probably all that work will fall back on you and you will have to do extra work. So in such a situation, if you are doing extra work at your workplace and you want to tell that to your boss or to somebody else, you could say that, I'm having a really tough time, I've got no time for myself because I've been picking up the slack at work, which means that I'm doing a lot of extra work which I am not supposed to do. Okay, now with this we move to the second sentence that you can use to complain at your workplace. I can't stand the office politics. Okay, it seems like kissing up, can we do that? Oh, kissing up to the people, okay, who call the shots is the only way to move up the ranks. Okay, this seems very interesting. We have got politics, we have got kissing, we've got shots and the ranks. So what do all these expressions mean? Well, if you want to complain at your workplace, if you are in such a situation where you need to please some people at work or you need to do some activities to make them happy, then you're in this situation. So let me decode it for you. I can't stand the office politics. So office politics is a situation where there are people who use their position to influence others. As in, if you have a supervisor, just because he's a supervisor, he might ask you to pick up the slack, which means the work that he is supposed to do, he might give you some responsibility so that he can be free of it. And such people create the office politics, which means that they use their position to dominate others, okay? Office politics means to use position to dominate others. Okay, now with this, let's see what does this complaint say further. It seems like kissing up to the people. Okay, so kissing, we all know what kissing is, but how would you kiss to the people in the office? Kissing up to the people in the office means pleasing people, okay, which means to do things for them that make them happy. So if your supervisor expects you to get a coffee, you go and get it for them, okay? Try to be in someone's good books. So it seems like kissing up to the people who call the shots. Okay, call the shots are the people who make the important decisions, okay? Calling the shots means those people who make the important decisions at work. So what the person is trying to say here is that it seems like trying to be in someone's good books who makes important decisions is the only way to move up the ranks. Now, moving up the ranks means getting a better rank, which means to get a better position at work. To get a better position. And you could also say to move up the ladder, which has the same meaning as moving up the rank. So if you are having a hard time at your workplace because of the office politics, as in people dominating you, and you have to please people to be in their good books because they take important decisions, and you don't like to do that because that's the only way to get a better position, then maybe you need to quit because you're not enjoying your workplace and you have to face a lot of office politics. So this is another way to complain at your workplace. And now let's move to the next one. My boss loves to micromanage, and I can't do my best work when she is constantly breathing down my neck. Okay, now this is pretty interesting. Do you know the meaning of micro? Micro means very, very tiny, okay? Tiny. And manage means to handle something. What it actually means is that your boss likes to see all the details of what you are doing, okay? If you are calling some clients, they want to know which clients have you called and how has the deal proceeded. So these are those kind of bosses who don't like to just sit up there and, give activities, you do this, you do that. But these are those bosses who like to find out what their employees are doing. So if you have a boss like that, you can say that my boss loves to micromanage. And I can't do my best work, which means you can't perform your best when she is or he is constantly breathing down your neck. Okay, just imagine this feeling. Think of yourself in a public place, okay, and you have this person standing behind you and you can almost feel their breath on your neck. Isn't that so terrible? Such a strange feeling to have someone breathing at your neck? Well, if you work with a person who likes to micromanage, then that person is breathing down your neck. Tiny handling means to, see all the details, and breathing down the neck also has a similar meaning, which means to see the details. Okay, now the next one we have is the job itself is rewarding, okay? Rewarding, but the salary and benefits leave a lot to be desired. Okay, now this is very interesting because we have two expressions here. The first is rewarding. So in this case, somebody thinks that their job is actually good, okay? Rewarding comes from the word reward, which means, a prize. So if you like your job and if you're happy, if you're satisfied and you feel good at your job, you'll say that it's rewarding. For example, I think content writing is financially very rewarding, which means it pays you very well, right? So this way you can use rewarding, which means for a good job, or which pays you well. But the salary and benefits leave a lot to be desired. So a lot to be desired means unsatisfactory, okay? Unsatisfactory. Okay, so this person thinks that their job is good, they like to go to work, they enjoy their work, but the problem is that the salary is unsatisfactory. That's why they have used a lot to be desired. So this is how you can use this phrase to say if your job is nice, you're enjoying your work, but you don't get enough salary, then you can use this expression to complain about it or to talk about it. Now with this we come to the last expression and the last sentence for the day, and that is, I feel like I'm spread too thin, okay? Spread too thin. But every time I wrap up one project, I'm given more to be done yesterday. Okay, now this also seems to be very interesting. When are you spread too thin? Okay, think of a jam that you spread on the bread and you spread it so thin, like the thinnest layer, and you keep pressing it in, okay? That's almost your situation when you're at your workplace and you're loaded with work. So if you have too much work to do, you'll say that I'm spread too thin these days, so I'm gonna quit, which means that you have too much work to do. So I'm spread too thin means too much work to do. But every time I wrap up, so here wrap up means complete. So every time I complete one project, I'm given one more to do because you have so much work to do. So wrap up means complete. Now, what's interesting in this sentence is, I wrap up one project and I'm given more to be done yesterday. How can you be given a new project today which you need to have done yesterday? Is it possible that you're given the project today and you were supposed to do it yesterday? Well, this doesn't make sense because it's an expression, and what it means here is that the project needs to be completed urgently. So if your boss gives you a project which you need to finish within half an hour, that's when the project needs to be done yesterday, which means that it needs to be done urgently. So yesterday here means urgently, and you could say that I often get projects which I am supposed to complete yesterday. Of course, this means that the ones that you are supposed to complete on an urgent basis and submit immediately. Okay, so this last expression will be used when you have a lot of work to do at your workplace and it's getting very hard for you to manage. Okay, so these are different situations in which you can use these sentences to complain at your workplace about the problem you're facing. I hope these slang expressions were useful for you and that you would actually use them when you go to work next. So thank you so much for tuning in. Come back for more lessons with me. This is Michelle signing off. Bye-bye.